Well, Cilantro, how you do, Buckaroos, and how the heck are you? Well, we're back at the pub after a little bit of a break. My schedule hadn't allowed me to do the regular shows, so I'm trying to get back to doing it. I was trying to decide if I should do it regularly Wednesday or Sunday. Right now, I'm going with Wednesday. And joining me at the pub for episode 39 is the one and only Rajay from Rajay Beer Ventures. But I also know you've got some other irons in the fire, Rod. So tell folks what else you got going on.
Oh, cheers, my friend. Yeah, so trying to stay active on a lot of stuff that I'm doing around the beer world, of course. So got the beer channel, Rajay Beer Ventures, over on YouTube. The website, which you can see the website there in the title, rajaybeerventures.com. But a lot of good stuff happening. Thursday nights we do the happy hour live stream where it's myself, Todd, and we have Mal that's actually in from Chicago. She actually is part of Ravinia Brewing now, but before that, she kind of gives us that more female side that we were missing for all those years. So it was always great to have more women involved in the beer community. So was able to have her join this year to be a part of that. Always doing stuff. I just started doing more stuff like on TikTok after going to a conference last year. Everybody was talking about it, and amazingly, it is pretty cool on TikTok with some of the things doing. So you can catch me there, catch me on Twitter, Facebook, um, Tumblr, everything except MySpace, pretty much. I'm everywhere for the most part. So the podcast has been picking up too. So anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can now find Rajay Beer Ventures. Spotify has been running a lot of stuff out. I've been going through Anchor, and they get it all shared out to where you can get it on iTunes or wherever you listen to
Oh,
podcasts.
nice. Very nice.
So we feature sometimes the replays of some of the YouTube shows. I'll put some special things on there as well. I'll probably put like this up there on the podcast so people can hear and learn about Tom some more here, the Beer Whisperer, and doing everything I can. Anything about beer, I'm trying to be involved and be around. And we've had some great early shows this year. We had Left Hand on, which was great. Their head brewer came on, and we've had a few other people from the industry. So looking to do more of that this year.
Well, that's great. Real quick, I want to mention we've had a couple of comments from Tater, Dom, and Todd. They say cheers. So, what are you drinking, man? What are you drinking at the pub today, sir?
So I actually picked up a 6-pack today of one that I thought I did have it one time before, but it looks like I had it at a restaurant. And I looked on, I said, I never reviewed it. So I'll probably be reviewing this on the channel at a point too. But I picked up a 6-pack of Flying Dog, and their Double Dog double IPA comes in at 12% ABV.
Oh, wow. Gosh, I haven't had that one for years. We used to be able to get their stuff here, but I can't anymore.
Yeah. So I just recently did the Double Dog 18.
Oh, my goodness.
This is their triple IPA, the 18% ABV.
Oh, good Lord.
Like, I did that jump like Chris's story. I went to the triple dog there without doing the double dog first. I have to go back now and try the double dogs. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to that. So I'm going to definitely be drinking that and put it in my little snifter glass here.
I'll let you pour that, and I'll tell you what I got here. I got one I picked up, 2 months ago, so I really need to drink it. It's a gluten-free beer. It's from Brewing out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's called Astronaut Cookies Oatmeal Stout, and it's really interesting. The ingredients are millet, rice, buckwheat, quinoa, gluten-free oats, tapioca, maltodextrin, hops, yeast, and water.
Okay.
It's very interesting. It's not bad. It's probably the best gluten-free beer I've ever had.
I was going to say, what is your take on gluten-free beers there?
Well, to be honest with you, I really haven't, until this one, I really haven't found one I really liked, but this one is done exquisitely well.
Okay.
And we talked about pairings before the show, and I said, well, a lot of it's about my OCD. So I was going to have a beer, and you said, well, you might do some whiskey too. So I grabbed a beer and a whiskey. So the common thread here really is Oklahoma. So I got the Oklahoma beer, and I've got an Oklahoma whiskey. This one's from Hochatown Distilling out of Oklahoma, and it's a single barrel straight bourbon whiskey at 120 proof. It's a single barrel cask.
Oh, nice.
It is just delicious and remarkably approachable at that ABV, or at that proof, I should say. Oh, God.
I got
a 2-ounce pour there. Keep it light.
I actually went a little bit, I'm actually over there with you out west, though, but I went a little bit more south. So skip over Texas, but I got the Sierra Norte Mexican whiskey.
Oh, wow. I haven't had that one before. So,
yeah, this was the find at one of my local spots here in Baltimore now. It's 45 ABV, barrel number 118, bottle number 198, batch number 3.
It's a 90.
Made, yeah, 90 proof.
Wow.
Single barrel Mexican whiskey made with native Oxycan white corn. I probably screwed that up, but that's what they got there.
Oh.
But this was one, it was in the store. And I was like looking at it. I was like, I've never seen that before. I was kind of thinking about it. And the guy was like, oh, I got a bottle here. You want to taste it? And I'm like, who's going to say no? Yeah, I'll take a little taste, right? So what's up, Yoda? Cheers, my friend.
So Vanessa said hi. And then Erie Nicole Gaming says, hey there.
Hey, what's happening, folks? Cheers. Erie's part of our Custom Fuss crew.
Very nice. So tell me about the nose on that whiskey.
So this one here,
I'm really curious with the way you were describing it there.
I mean, you get like with my whiskey, even though I lived in Kentucky for a number of years, I didn't drink enough whiskey to become a connoisseur of it, but you're getting definitely like the alcohol type feel coming through. You're getting some graininess, you're getting the corn. I mean, it almost feels like one of those pure type things where you have alcohol, you just like, no, it's just like it says on here, no color or anything added. Like you could tell like no additives. Like this is like the real
nice.
deal.
That's very nice. That sounds delicious. I'm going to look for that now that you.
Which is like when you go to Mexico, like we went to Cancun years ago, stuff that we get in America, you can't get over there. Like they don't serve some of this stuff. And it's like, you know, they're conscious about what they're putting in their bodies. And same thing happened with Canada, same thing happened when we go to the Caribbean. So it's like, what are they feeding us here? Right. So
I know it's really bothersome, isn't it?
You start to have concerns when you come back. So this one is, and I'll show this here. This is their white version. There's a yellow, a white, a black, and a purple. And these are the Whiskey Advocate ratings.
Oh, wow. Okay. Very nice.
Which I can't say Whiskey Advocate is that much better than beer, like Untapped or anything like that. But they give the white an 86, the yellow a 90, the black 88, and the purple 85. So
okay,
not last,
nice
but
numbers.
Last there. But they put stuff here like non-GMO and all this other kind of stuff. But one here says white has the most familiar corn whiskey character of the Mexican trio, sweet butter corn, toasted spices, green corn husks, and peanuts on the nose. Palate is sweet, gentle, and refreshing. And everything else kind of small. It's like because we were talking about getting older. I was like, everything's so small print now.
I know it's killing me. Right?
Yeah.
So I can't read. They put certain print on a certain color background. And say, hell, I can't read that.
But I can tell you, I have tasted it as I'm just about halfway through the bottle here now.
Very nice.
The color on it.
Oh, I'm guessing that looks like about a 3-ounce pour to me.
It's all session drinks for me, so I don't know.
I'm not judging. I just, I've been pouring into a Glencairn so long, I can eyeball it. Yeah,
I did do the proper glass for the double IPA, right? A snifter. So
nice. See, I used a snifter for my oatmeal stout too as well. Yeah. We had a comment from Mersey Beer says, "Cheers all." And then Vanessa
Adam
is back with I have a caramel pecan coffee whiskey. Oh man, that sounds delicious.
Ooh, that does taste delicious. Sound delicious, Vanessa.
We might have to talk about that one. Give us some notes on that.
Yeah, so when you get it into like the Glencairn, it definitely opens up more in the nose. Which again, that's one of those things where glass matter. You're not getting all this by sniffing out of the bottle. When you get into the glass and it runs it up, it really does come out. Almost like in the back, it has a little bit of a. You always try to think of things that you can relate to, right? It almost like a lighter fluid type feel in the nose, which is kind of weird, like a kerosene type feel.
Kerosene, okay.
Yeah, at least for me, that's what I'm kind of getting there. But almost like a little bit of an oily type feel in the nose. I mean, it's a pretty solid one, and like I said, and I think when I got this bottle, it was $29, $31 or something like that. So it wasn't a highly priced type thing, so it was well worth it. And I love the caramel brown color of it too. So
yeah, the color looks amazing, man. I like it.
And you talk about when you do some of the bourbon whiskeys, sometimes you get that bite up front. This is smooth
Mhm.
going in. Then someone's like, "Oh, who turned the heat on?" Because the heat starts coming
You
in
got
from
some
the
burn
house.
on the back end.
Yeah, you get that little heat coming up. You get a little bit of a caramel type feel
Mhm.
there on the palate, but it just lays down very nicely.
You get
And
any finishing spice there? Anything on the back end? Any
little
spice?
bit, little bit towards a rye type appeal to it, I would say on the back end. A little bit of a spice type on the back end.
Like a baking spice kind of thing?
No, just like kind of that rye spice that you get on some of the rye barreling type with beer,
Okay.
where it's got a little
Good.
bit of that, little bit pepperish type thing. Um, but yeah, it just saturates the mouth ever so nicely too.
Nice.
So yeah, it was a pleasant surprise to pick up.
Yeah, this one really surprised me too at 120 proof. It's just a oh man, you would think you'd want to mix it or add water to it, but it's just so approachable, neat, and I just hate to do anything else to it. So Hochatown Distilling was formed in the heart of southeast Oklahoma with the goal of producing the finest quality spirits distilled, bottled, and aged in Hochatown. This stuff is just amazing, man. You would think you'd get a burn, but you really don't. It's initially sweet up front.
Hmm.
You get some toffee like notes. I almost feel like I get a hint of amaretto in there. You feel some brown sugar because you're definitely going to find some molasses. You may find some dark fruits. You kind of alluded to it earlier. I always tell people that's between you and your palate, right? Because
Hmm.
you're not going to taste things you don't know. So you may pick up some date and or fig if you're familiar with those flavors. For me, I'm picking up some dark cherry notes. But a lot of big spice in the finish. And I don't know if you can see me or not, or see the expression on my face, but typically one might drink 120 proof and make a face, but this thing is just so easy to drink.
Going down with no problem.
There's just nothing. None of that. You know,
I
it's
will
just
say on the
you know,
I will say on the lip as I drink on this now, I do get like talking about the spice, almost like a cinnamon type appeal to it as well. That I'm picking
oh,
up
nice.
on the back end. So
So we had
very complex.
a comment from Crutch says you're switching it up. Great to see expanding your palate. I'll post a
Cheers, Chris.
comment from Vanessa about her whiskeys.
Yeah.
Put that up there. I welcome all questions and comments. I tell folks when I do these shows, we'll answer just about anything unless you're being a colossal douchebag, and then I'm going to ignore you.
Yeah, Crunch was one of the originals. We were going way back in. I think you might have been in a couple of shows of Crunch. We were doing the old.
Probably it's been a while. I haven't been on.
Craft beers going wild years ago. So yeah.
I'm working till 9 most Thursdays, so it's my Thursdays are pretty much taken up these days.
Yeah.
But I gave up my day gig, or I gave up what was the main job and just focusing on what was the side gig, which is working at the brewery now and picking up more shifts, kind of reinventing myself in my old age.
Yeah. Well, not bad. Not a bad spot to be at, especially for beer drinkers, right? To be at the brewery. So
Well, no, and it's a great one too. It's more like it's kind of like a throwback, right? That pre-prohibition neighborhood brewery kind of feel. We're kind of tucked in a neighborhood, in a little strip mall, and we just have a lot of locals that will come to us.
Yeah.
And we don't. The place has no television set, so it's about making friends. It's about talking to people. So folks that want to see a game, they're going other places. But if you want to come in, have some great beer, we even just started bringing in some whiskey selections. But you just make good friends in that place.
Okay. It's a little more about building community,
Mhm.
putting your head,
Exactly.
in front of a big screen. So that's pretty cool.
I didn't mention it earlier. A lot of big oak in the finish here. Finish is rather dry and spicy.
Very nice.
Other than that, it's got a lot of irons in the fire, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show. So, are you directing your focus any one place, or are you just trying to divide it up evenly?
We always try, don't we?
I get it, right? Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I was talking about the beer stuff. So I'm trying to do so. Actually, this week I've kind of taken off this week just to kind of regroup a little bit outside of like having the live stream on Thursday night. The video uploads last week. I put up a video talking about SRM because I'm getting more into an educational concept back on the channel as well. So I'm going to have more of that stuff coming out. Beer reviews, I enjoy doing them, but I feel like everybody's doing beer reviews, right? And it's kind of like I wanted to bring more stuff. The whole idea behind the channel was to bring the passion of beer and experience of beer and education of beer to people in a fun way. So beer reviews are one way to do it, but I also want to teach people about stuff. So the SRM video I had just done, just kind of explaining that because people hear that and they're not really sure what it is sometimes. One on the IBUs that I got upcoming for that channel as well. I know talking with Todd a few times, I've got things coming back, breaking down various hops for different types of brewing and stuff like that. And then the beer reviews will still be sprinkled in there and stuff. So I got all that stuff happening. So I took this week off kind of to look at replanning some guidelines. But away from that, on YouTube, I also have a mile really just starting to be kind of a successful type reaction channel. So I've been doing music reactions as well.
Oh,
so
really?
That one's also been taking part of my time, and I've been trying to tool that a little bit better. So that one became popular quick, but I say popular, but it's like, the whole thing is the first hurdle is 1,000, right? So that channel was over 1,000 within like a month and a half, 2 months time.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So it was I've been kind of doing that, and I've been mixing in stuff when I can there too, but I have to get a little bit more structure. So I'm trying to get it to doing 2 videos a week over there, and on the beer channel, if I can get it down correctly, I'll do like 3 videos a week, Monday through Wednesday, and then do the live stream on Thursday. And I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday to prepare stuff for the upcoming weeks type thing. That's the plan. How it works in the real world, as you know, doesn't always go according to plan. So
sometimes it's tough to get off the drawing board, right?
Yeah. So I've been trying to work along doing that. I've been trying to meet with other people and different breweries to get them on the channel and stuff as well. I've been invited about some different events that were taking place. Right now, I'm also one of the things I'm doing. I'm one of the judges for the Craft Beer Marketing Awards that are taking place at the Craft Beer Conference in Vegas in April. So I'm trying to get those out. They actually had me for 2 categories this year, which was great. I was 1 category last year. This year, they got me on 2, one category being best on location beer garden or branding.
Oh, wow.
And the other one being best social media use by a brewery. So I've got like 2 different categories that I'm kind of going through judging right now, which is a cool thing to be able to provide that. And you have, some other people in the industry kind of looking at you being able to bring that expertise. So, you're kind of building all this stuff up and everything, which has been awesome.
Very nice.
Yeah. So trying to do all that, still breweries around Baltimore that I try to get out to see when I can. It's just between that and really the day job, because you got to pay the bills. So the day job is going to lock you down for a period of time. That's what takes most of the stuff up, right? Doing that. So that's like the 8 to 5.
Or not, but what neck of the woods are you in now?
I'm in Baltimore now.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I met you were in Kentucky.
Right.
Yeah.
Cincinnati border. Yeah. The missus took a job here just over a couple years ago, so we moved to Baltimore. And originally, I'm from New Jersey, so.
Oh, okay.
I get to see my mom, but there's a couple hours away from here where she's in South Jersey, which I've been able to get into some of the Jersey breweries up there, which is pretty cool. So I'm able to get into that scene and see what they're doing. And
so are you first online with the Jersey Johnny or the Beer Samurai?
Well, it's funny because you mentioned for me to check out their live stream things. I checked it out last night, and I was actually talking to the guys.
Okay, great.
Great show they got there. The lager show.
Johnny's starting Coastal Beer Works in Jersey.
Okay. Yeah, we were talking about some of the spots up there that I had been to, and I told him, I was born in South Jersey as well. We were kind of talking about the different areas, and they were pulling the comments and stuff up. And all 3 of them, they had 3 guys. I don't know if all 3 usually do it, but there were 3 guys that were doing it last night, and they were all pretty cool. So.
Yeah, they're great guys, man. So I was hoping you'd connect with them because
thanks for recommending them.
Be a great guest on their show.
Yeah, I was telling them because one of my old classmates, I was telling him up there in Jersey, he's one of the co-founders of Spellbound. Mm-hmm. So they actually are familiar with them, and they were showing me some of the pictures when they were out Spellbound and stuff too. So I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool there." Yeah. I said, Me and Scott, we went to school together. We were track teammates and classmates, everything like that. So that's awesome.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. So tell me, we talked about your whiskey. Have you drank any of that double IPA yet?
Yeah. So
I'm curious about that one. I haven't had that one before.
yeah. So this one I had one time, a long time. I think it was Bowie, Maryland. I don't know if it's Bowie or Bowie, how they pronounce it is Bowie. But anyway, I looked at my tap and I was like at a restaurant we were at. So I never really picked up a 6-pack or anything before, but it's very, it's 12% ABV. So it's definitely got the alcohol coming through. It's got a syrupy body type presence to it. It's got definitely a little bit of heat in there. Nose wise,
and malty.
Yeah, malty. Nose wise, so you do get some of the residue of the hops. You do pick up kind of like that pine forest type feel, but the malts are right up there with it. And then when you get it on that palate, the body's got a nice little medium thick type body to it, medium to full, I guess you can say. You get a little bit of that carbonation in play, get a little bit of that tickling on the tongue.
Oh, nice.
But overall, it's pretty smooth. You can definitely tell it has weight, right? So, and the thing about this double IPA is not and we talked about this years ago, I know a few times and stuff. It's not the juice bombs, right? These are like the double IPAs that are like, you actually know you're drinking a beer. It's like, you don't think you're drinking juice.
With that big malt backbone.
Right.
You got to chew it a little bit.
A little bit of that leathery type appeal to it. So, and I enjoy that. I enjoy being able to get back to the type of styles along those lines where IPAs, for me, they can actually burn me out on them over a period of time. So, like I tell people, if you look at my beer fridge, the least style I probably have in there, you would think is IPA. I have a few in there, but it's mainly stouts, porters, brown ales, some Schwarzbiers, some Rauchbier, but the IPAs are ones I can definitely get tired out on a little bit. And I gotta reset myself. This is not like one like that. This is one that's like, okay, I can keep this one around. Now, mind you, again, if you do pick up this 12%, so anybody watching, make sure you know your tolerance, because these come in a 6-pack, and a 6-pack will knock you down. So recently, I got my wife a few months ago hooked on Golden Monkey. She's like, these aren't like the other ones like before. Like, no, those like 9.3 or higher because I got different versions of it. She was used to drinking some of the 5 or 6% type stuff. She's like, yeah, I feel a little different.
So go back to your thoughts on IPAs. I mean, you say, don't they seem to get one note after a while? So, oh, great, I got tangerine and grapefruit. Oh, great, I got grapefruit and tangerine. Oh, great, I got pineapple and passion fruit. Tropical fruit or citrus. Okay, great. That's what you kind of miss. I was saying in a few episodes, I miss beers like that where they were just big, malty, and chewy, and the hops were the accent. They weren't the star of the show.
Right. And that's what you're getting with this. And Flying Dog, to me, they still make some decent stuff out there. I feel like sometimes now they get overlooked with all the flash of some of the other type beers that are out there, because everybody's chasing all the juice bombs or the smoothie sours, whatever it may be and stuff. And Flying Dog's like, we're going to keep doing what we're kind of doing here. And I think they come up with some great stuff over the years.
Yeah, they have. I used to be able to buy them all the time here, but over the last few years, the distribution has changed, and we've gained access to other beers. It seems like every time we gain access to one, we lose access to another.
Yeah.
And then we're getting more local as well. I mean, Springfield isn't that big a town, and we've got 11 breweries now. And so 10 years ago, we had 2.
Wow. Did you say you can get Four Loko there?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know some states you can't get Four Loko.
But yeah, we can.
Yeah. Because we used to get in Kentucky, they couldn't get it in Ohio, so they used to come over there to kind of get it. And my wife asked me about that the other day or whatever. I was like, no, they don't sell Four Loko in Maryland that I've seen as of yet. So, yeah, it's funny how that works out.
Well, I'm going to change gears on you a little bit. I'm going to step it up in the beer department and take it down a notch in the whiskey department. And again, here's the The connection is well, the connection is the brewery and the distillery. Is they're both sister companies. In fact, they're both in the same building. I've got a product from Springfield Brewing Company, local to me. This is their Old Standard. It is a barley wine aged in port and sherry barrels,
Oh,
and it's at 11%.
nice.
And then the oatmeal stout, I think I didn't mention it. It's only at 5, so it was a light beer, but the whiskey was heavy.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna take it down a notch on the whiskey by using Tiaki Da, they're at Springfield Brewing Company are owned by the same people. They're sister companies.
Okay.
There's a bourbon barrel that's finished in port barrels, and it's at 92 proof.
Oh, nice.
It is just a gorgeous whiskey, man. It really is. So I'm gonna do with my glass here. So I'm one of those folks, and I think you probably are too, that if you have the corresponding glass, you have to use it. My wife makes fun of me because I if I can't find the glass, I won't do the product. I have to have the glass. So I've got the $2 glass here. I got the Springfield. I don't necessarily have to have the glass for the brewery or the distillery, but if I have it, I have to use it.
Yes, that's what we call hashtag proper glassware.
That's right. The OCD gets the best of me sometimes.
Yeah. That's just proper representation.
That's right. I've tried to explain that to my wife, but she likes to make fun of me for it. There we go. I'm gonna put a nice pour in there. I thought about doing something crazy because that beer is aged in port and sherry barrels.
Yeah.
This whiskey is aged in port barrels, but then they have another product right here called Wanderlust that's aged in sherry barrels. So I thought about mixing an ounce of each, but then I decided against it. The purist in me wouldn't allow me to do that.
You mix a beer, but not whiskey.
Yeah, I thought about, nah, Tom, that's just wrong. You can't do it.
So, do you have a favorite for barreling? Do you have a favorite you like as far as what beers are barreled in?
Other than your standard white oak.
Right.
So yeah, that's an interesting question. So a lot of the distilleries here in the state or just outside the state, a lot of them will use Missouri white oak, and I've noticed a difference. A lot of folks don't like Missouri white oak for different reasons, but what I've noticed is those that do, Missouri white oak offers more spice notes than other American white oak. So if you ever get any Missouri whiskey aged in Missouri white oak, you will notice that difference right on that back end. You will feel those spice notes in a great big way. But as far as additional barrels like the port or the sherry, do I have a particular favorite? No, really. It just kind of depends on what I'm in the mood for, to be honest with you. I really like the port and sherry barrels. Especially when you're into those winter months, right? When you're really drinking whiskey for comfort, you want that warm. Because I think you feel, the port and the sherry, or I feel like are kind of fall, winter, cordials, right?
Yeah, well, you think in your head like cracking sitting in front of a fireplace as it's crackling, and you're sitting back and enjoying it. Yeah.
And I love the additional fruit notes that port and or sherry barrels will use. But if I had to pick a favorite, I would probably say I prefer port slightly more over sherry. But I'm not turning down a sherry finished anything either. I've got another whiskey here from a Springfield Brewing Company called Hinterland, where it's finished in maple syrup barrels, and because you get that again, you get those white oak notes on top of those maple syrup notes, and you just got a great quality whiskey.
Ooh. Okay.
Vanessa says I've been trying to find large planks of white oak, thick ones to bench and at table bills. I'm going to post your comment there, Vanessa.
Yeah, Vanessa's big into building a lot of things. So she's
nice.
Building out a kegerator where she's gonna just have dragon milk on tap in the keg.
Oh,
and she builds out like
that's
dragon's milk like carriers. Yeah, oh yeah, she does that. She has like a bench, a fire pit, all kinds of stuff. So Vanessa is she's been one of my favorite, subscribers and stuff like that with the channel. Been with us for a long time, and we all decided like if the world ever shit hits the fan, we all go to Vanessa's house because she's automatically the leader. She's like
All right,
she's the Rick Grimes of the crew. So we're all
you
going
have
to
to have
Vanessa's
somebody
house.
who's going to take charge.
Yeah. And it's just like all you gotta do is make it to Vanessa's house up in Connecticut, and she'll make sure everything is all set going forward. So yeah, she's awesome.
Well, I'm just the comic relief. You need somebody that can do things.
Yeah. I'm there to pair the beers for the meals. That's all I'm there for.
I thought about getting a kegerator, and my wife reminded me that I don't drink enough of one particular style. It would take me forever to get through one keg because I like to, what I want changes per minute.
Yeah. I will be the same way. I mean, just getting through stuff right now that I have here is crazy.
I actually quit buying stuff. I had a 2-month period before the end of the year. I quit buying stuff, and then we went to Oklahoma, and I bought quite a bit. And it was just last weekend was the first time I bought beer in Missouri this year.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Just took me forever to get through stuff.
Well, it's like I try not to buy more, like we were talking about earlier, but it's kind of like I get out somewhere and it's like I got to get it now because it won't be here anymore. Like this is the only time you bring it out during the year, or they're not going to be bringing it back, or it's a special anniversary type thing. It's always
yeah. And see, I've got a friend that's got a kegerator, invites us over all the time, but he's even said the same thing. Even having a lot of company, sometimes it's tough to eliminate certain kegs.
Yeah.
Get something over because it sounds good. You like the beer, but then after a couple weekends, you're ready for something else, and you still got 2 or 3 more weekends of that keg left.
Right.
Something sounds good at that moment, but now that moment is past.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
Maybe I'm thinking a little bit of eucalyptus or something with this one, with this whiskey. I'm trying to just think of all the flavors I'm getting with it. It's damn good, though. I'll tell you that. And you get heat, but it's not overly hot. So it just so smooth.
Nice.
Yeah, it's only a Wednesday night, and I got to drink again tomorrow. I'm like, I don't know. 35% ABV whiskey.
Yeah, so I go on my
IPA.
I drink tonight. I drink tonight, and then I work Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, so I won't drink again until Sunday.
Well, it's like Todd said, sessionable. Like none of the beers we ever have are like usually lower type beer. Occasionally we'll have some stuff out there, and sometimes I'll throw a macro or something like that up there. But most of the time, I'm drinking double-digit ABV beers for a lot of it.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah. Well, I tend to again through those last few months of the year. Yeah, going into then January, February, March. Now I'll start getting back to the 5-6% pilsners.
Yeah, even then, like I got I've seen like Imperial pilsners, like even my local corner store has one. I did a review. I think it was Oblivan or something. It was out of the Ukraine. Ukraine, they drink in Ukraine. I see some of the Ukrainian beers, and they do put some beers down with high ABV, and it was like 9.9% Imperial Pilsner. Like, who makes an Imperial Pilsner? Oh, Ukrainians do. That's who makes Imperial Pilsners.
So the brewery I work for does a great Imperial Pilsner, but it's at 7.8, so it's not. Yeah. It's big, but it's big for a Pilsner, but it's not huge. But even at 7.8, it'll put a hurt on you.
Yeah, because Pilsner's like crisp, easy drinking they're supposed to be, so you'll get into having a few of them, but like then you stand up.
Well, that's kind of the problem with that beer. It is crisp, it is easy to drink, but it's 7.8, and you don't really feel that until you try to get up.
But yeah, there was someone
take some Dragon Milk stouts. We will sit on the bench, swings around the fire pit until we finish them. There we go.
Yeah, I would be all for that for sure.
Oh, mercy. Let me work on this bourbon a little bit. Did you do a sports show at one time, Rod, or am I imagining things? I thought you did a sports thing at one time.
I think we probably talked about. We did a beer maybe around sports or something, or
Oh,
we
could
were
be, could
talking
be.
sports maybe along those lines and stuff. I actually thought the other day about doing a March Madness with beers to
Mhm.
try to do a show around that, but I'm like, that would be so long of time because you have to go through the beers and talk about the beers and people have to vote on the beer. I'm like, I mean, that's just nobody has time for all of that to do. So, but I should have maybe come up with a chart and put it like on Facebook or something like that and everything. Here's your top 64 beers, and pair them up and see what people choose to go through or
Wow, that's
something.
wild. Yeah.
But yeah. But I had one talking about Imperial Pilsner. So what I had was one called Crazy Brewski.
Crazy
So
Brew. Okay.
this was out of Lithuania.
Oh, I think I've had that one before. Actually, show the label.
Let me see here. Let me pull it up here.
Because those Lithuania beers will kill you. Yeah, I've had that one. Yeah.
Yeah. 15% ABV.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Imperial Pilsner, 15%.
And it's god awful too.
It is. I guess you can't put it in a strong ale. It's a lager, so you can't put it in that
It'll
category.
burn all the way down and all the way out.
Some Lithuanian open air in your chest.
Oh yeah, they're not playing, man.
Oh yeah.
Rod says, "Hey Rod, my home country," or Crunch says,
Yeah, Lithuania. Yeah.
There we go. Put that
I
out.
mean, you ain't messing around with that beer for sure. There was another one I got from there too, but I was like, you know what? Because it was like, I think it was like a 22. No, it wasn't like, it was like a 16, maybe 16.9 or a little bit bigger than usual, but it was like $5 on that and everything. You know what? So, you know what? I'll give that a try. You know, it's like, see what happens. I actually did finish it though, too. And, you know, it was definitely one of those ones like back in the day, like we were in high school, we used to, when we we weren't legally able to drink, but we would first get our first alcoholic drinks. You know, you were getting kind of like some of the 40s and all that kind of stuff. Like that would have been one to get. Like, put that in a brown bag. Yeah.
When it was just about getting drunk, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what we would do is we would get, of course, they didn't sell them in 40s back then. They were quart. So we buy a quart of either Schlitz malt liquor or Old English, and then buy a bottle of Boone's Farm, either Wild Mountain or Strawberry Hill. And then then I shit you not, here's where it gets ugly. We would chug that entire bottle of wine. Just chug it. Or chug the beer, one or the other, and then drink the other one. Yeah, that's how stupid we were.
Well, we were talking about that. I think it was like last week on the show. We were talking about going through some stuff, but you know, we've all kind of had. I mean, depending where you were, I don't know if the kids nowadays do it as much as we did back then. But as we found ourselves in our teen years becoming adults, going through the Wild Irish Rose phase, the Mad Dog phase.
Oh, the Mad Dog
phase.
So
yeah.
Ripple?
Did I do what?
Ripple?
Never had the Ripple. Always knew the Ripple. Never had that one. Yeah. Had Thunderbird. The Thunderbird.
Well, we have to, Thunderbird. Yeah, you had to do the Ripple because, you know, Fred Sanford drank the Ripple. Boy, that stuff was god awful too, man.
We had the Blue Bull. We had the Blue Bull from Schlitz and the Red Bull from Schlitz.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Colt 45 and the Old English.
Yeah. Of course, then you had the Colt 45 commercials back then.
Yeah, yeah. Which actually back then was sophisticated with Billy D, right? You felt like, oh, it's Billy D. Yeah.
Okay for Billy D, then it must be okay. Because Billy D is the epitome of cool.
Yeah. That's Lando Calrissian right there. It's got to be okay, right? Yeah.
Cool, wasn't he? Hell, if he's drinking that shit. Well, that Schlitz malt liquor, though, man. Oh, that would put a hurt on you.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I really hate
that now, but I actually preferred Old English 800 back then. I would drink that by the gallon.
Yeah, that was at
a certain age, let's just say.
Yeah. Yeah, I think once we discovered like the Mad Dog and the Wild Irish shows, we did that for a bit. You were young and dumb and didn't realize anything different. Like we actually did a live stream, which Todd's probably laughing. We did a live stream on malt liquor last year.
Oh god.
And Shannon was like, I wonder if Mad Dog still tastes the same as they used to when I was younger, right? So we had to go and get some Mad Dog to do on the show with us. She took one sip and she was like,
So how bad
nope.
was it?
Oh, it was terrible. She never went back to the bottle after that one sip, and the bottle got
Oh man.
But now they got it all redesigned. They got looking all fancy for like a lot of these younger generation that are trying it. They're making it taste like Kool-Aid now, I guess. So.
Well, that's why we all drank Boone's Farm back in the day, because that's what it tastes like. The Wild Mountain Grape and the Strawberry Hill. I mean, it tasted like Kool-Aid.
But we had Bartles and James back then too. They got
Bartles, well, that was the Boone's Farm was before the Bartles and James. But yeah, well, I grew up in Southern California, so before Bartles and James, we had the California Coolers were first.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Bartles and James came out.
Yeah.
I used to drink those. I started drinking the California Coolers, but they gave me heartburn like nobody's business because all that citrus would just,
Yeah.
And my stomach was already shot before I was 21 anyway. From drinking about a 12-pack of Coke a day, but that's a story for another day.
Well, for many a year back when I was in college, it was about me and Southern Comfort. I love some Southern Comfort back then. Just
it was really sweet, huh?
Yeah, just Southern Comfort and something. I do Alabama Slammers.
I was just going to say, have you ever had an Alabama Slammer? Yeah. Somebody introduced me to an Alabama Slammer when I was 21. I went through a phase where I would, whenever I was invited anywhere, I'd buy all the ingredients for an Alabama Slammer, bring it there, and everybody was hooked.
Yeah,
It was like the alcohol version of Coke or crack back then, yeah. Because what you had in Alabama Slammer, you're going, oh my God, that's delicious.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Back then, we were doing Alabama Slammers. Back in my high school to college years, Alabama Slammers was a popular shot.
Yeah.
Popular drink was Sex on the Beach. And also, we were there when they started bringing out Lynchburg lemonade for the first time. When Jack Daniels.
Yeah, do remember that too? Yeah,
that was pretty popular. And of course, the Long Island iced tea. If you're that age, anytime you're like, I get 4 liquors. I get 4 liquors in one. I'll take that drink, sir.
And then when you get old, you realize, the Long Island iced teas are giving you bottom shelf liquor and charging you top shelf price.
Yeah.
They're getting rid of the worst liquor they have and selling it to you at a high price.
Well, the thing now is, if you ever notice going to places like Long Island iced tea, it's not made the same as it was back then. Because it used to be your 4 liquors, and you had your sours, and you had your splash of Coke that would go into
Splash of Coke, yeah.
Now it's 3 liquors they're using. A lot of times tequila gets left out of it. So it's not even a full type thing.
Gets left out?
Tequila is usually the one that's left out in a lot of places. So it's like
you had to have a shot of the 4 liquors, you had to have a shot of the sour mix, and then a splash of Coke.
Right. And then like a lime for a garnish, I think we did back then. But now it's like when I used to bartend in the 90s, like we'd all have different drinks we'd all make at the bar that were kind of our spell. Like Long Island iced tea and Lynchburg lemonades were 2 of the ones I would usually make a lot of for people. Someone else will make like a Manhattan, or like the what's the other one with bourbon?
Old fashioned,
right? Like old fashioned. Like everybody would have like different ones that were kind of become like their drinks. Like, oh, you want to go see Rod to get that one, or you want to go see BT to get that one, or you want to go see like we just it made it kind of nice to do it that way. So, but yeah. Bartending was a fun gig for sure. It's funny, we used to bartend, and this was like for the university. So we were at the alumni center doing a lot of functions, and professors would come in and it'd be usually like, oh, just give me a scotch and water. Blah, blah. Come on, can we spice it up? No, I don't change, like, they're old professors. But we would do comedy clubs and we would do stuff like that and weddings, all that kind of stuff. For some reason, whenever we did weddings, people would always come in and try to outdrink us they would try to outdrink the bartender. It's like, you know how high our tolerance is? Our tolerance is so high. Like, if you want to go for it, let's go for it, We'd be sitting there doing drinks with them and stuff like that too. So crazy. Yeah, the Purple Passion, yeah. It was years later that you found out that MD didn't mean Mad Dog. It was actually Morgan Dumont, the name of the
Yeah.
yeah. It was like it's not Mad Dog. I thought that was Mad
Yeah,
Dog.
Red Dog 2020, baby. Yeah. Hey, the funny
No,
thing is,
Morgan David. Morgan David. Yeah.
Yeah, Morgan David. Morgan David. I've done things kind of backwards. I waited till my late 50s to become a bartender.
Oh, okay. Okay. Nothing wrong with that though either.
Yeah, I've kind of been backwards, but
Yeah. Tom
it-
Collins is one of my
it's
drinks
enjoyable.
tonight.
They've got me where I'm working now. They've got me actually just designing cocktails per season. So
Oh, nice.
that's I got to design the cocktail we sold for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. Now, do you ever do any beer cocktails as well, or are you just doing straight cocktails using the spirits?
Yeah,
and the
so
bitter?
that's something I'm working on as well. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Beer cocktails becoming a thing, I guess. So I don't know that I'm
Yeah.
a huge fan of the beer cocktail, but I'm not opposed to it either.
No, it had a run when I was in Cincinnati. It had a run probably about 10 to 15 years ago where people were doing it, and then it kind of fell out. Like people were just kind of
Yeah.
like not into it as much anymore. But I see spots now where it's coming back again. It's a
I-
way
I-
like
It coming
back
back
in the early 90s, I saw breweries close. If they'd opened 5 years later, they'd have been set. So
right.
timing.
They've changed the liquor laws in my neck of the woods, so a lot of the smaller breweries, including the one I work for, have started doing cocktails and added whiskey. So you're starting to see a lot of those beer cocktails come back because of they've added the whiskey to the breweries.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean it's definitely an opportunity there to be able to kind of do some stuff like that.
Oh, and Ob's Net said, "What about the St. Ides 40?"
I've never did St. Ives. I was already past that point, like when St. Ives came out or was kind of getting marketed. I would say it was probably 94, 95, somewhere in that area, 93. I know Ice Cube was really big with the St. Ives. I was already like off into being an adulthood, right? So I was starting a real job and like I couldn't go back and like get the 40s anymore. So I missed that by a few years. But yeah. But I remember the popularity of that. Like Steel Reserve is popular now for a lot of people too. That's another one that's out there now.
Oh
And
God,
they have the Steel Reserve fruit drinks too. Yeah.
I don't think I've drank that in at least 2 days. That stuff is horrendous, is it not?
Yeah. Drink it cold and drink it fast, and then
Oh,
go to
that's
sleep.
it. You got to drink it real fast. You're just going to taste nothing but corn syrup.
Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible, man. Yeah, you got there are certain beers that were just made to shotgun.
Yeah.
You have to get them almost frozen and then shotgun them.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Of
just-
course, when you get that cold beer on the back of your throat, that's a little painful, but you got to work through the pain, man. You got to play through the pain, baby. That's part of the game.
it's like telling craft drinkers, like, you don't want a frosted mug. And they're always like, frosted mugs. Like, no, it's frosted if you're getting like Budweiser or something. You know,
Well,
you don't want that warming up on you. But
I used to have those plastic mugs with the lining that you freeze them. You know what I'm talking about?
mhm.
The liquid in the lining, and you freeze them so that you poured the beer in, and it just became like a slushy.
Yeah. 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 You don't want to do that with craft beer though.
No, I'm glad my palate kind of has got beyond that. But yeah, that's what we used to do. Yeah, you had to have it really cold because the
Yeah.
beer was terrible if it wasn't.
It's like we were talking about weeks back, and when everybody's kind of going through January, months back, even like how it's changed from the non-alcoholic game list. You're like me growing up. When you think non-alcoholic, you think duels or sharps off the bat, right? And it's all different
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Like, you actually have good non-alcoholic beer out there, which is great, So
Yeah, there is. The funny thing is, well, not funny, but it is just it's very hard, very expensive to brew a non-alcoholic beer for small breweries. It really is
Yeah.
tough.
yeah,
It's not an easy process. A lot of them just say it's just not cost effective for them.
Yeah.
So again, a lot of breweries in this neck of the woods are looking at just doing maybe a lower ABV beer, something hovering about 3%.
yeah. Like an actual session ale, not like when
Yeah,
we said
you-
session,
you-
it's like
you-
5%.
You come in after mowing the yards, you can just pound quickly or go into your local brewery and knock 2 or 3 back and not worry about it too much.
Yeah. Oh, it is that time of year when we'll start getting the lawnmower beers coming out pretty soon too. So
Yeah, it's funny. I love barley wines. I love anything chucked in a bourbon barrel. I'm a big fan. But as the weather gets warmer, I'm looking forward to the new crop of pilsners and fresh hop pilsners and Czech pilsners. I mean, I love those beers.
yeah.
But then again, when it comes to fall, I'm ready for everything to be chucked in a barrel again.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to be a big ale guy. I'm still pretty much more ale than lager, but over the years I've become more enjoyable of a lot of the lagers because of the different
Mhm.
styles and stuff. So,
Well, I've
um,
never understood the folks that say I don't like lagers because it just encompasses so many beers, right? I
yeah,
think usually when somebody says I don't like lagers, they mean they don't like the domestic lagers. But when you're talking about a lager, a lot of people don't realize that a Doppelbock at 8% is a lager.
right, right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
like that.
it,
Yeah,
it encompasses, you got a Schwarzbier, you've got you've got a Dunkel, you got a Dunkelweiss. There are so many great styles that to eliminate everything that's a lager just seems ridiculous.
yeah, it is, and I think that's part of it. Part of it is I don't think the beer industry did enough to actually educate the public to be aware
Well,
of the
that's
other
true
styles that
too.
are out there. And then most of the times growing up, like we're talking about non-alcoholic beer, when we grew up thinking lager, we were thinking Bud or Miller,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
they all have their spot and their position for what they're doing. But it's kind of like, yeah, when you get like a Roush beer, you're getting a lager. You get a Keller beer, you're getting a lager. You get
Yeah.
so it's fun to actually open up the door and start experimenting. And it's more like, okay, I'm not a huge fan of adjunct lagers,
Mhm.
but these
See,
other
there you
lager
go.
styles, you start to expand as you actually go. And that's where,
I'm saying, how do you not love a Doppelbock?
yeah.
That's a lager.
Yeah, you gotta enjoy it, right? Like
You
Cincinnati has a
don't
Bach
have
Fest
to
every
like it.
year.
Yeah.
They do
Yep. I agree.
they do a Bach Fest every year, and people just come out there and that's all they're drinking is Bachs, and they have some great Bachs they actually
Yeah.
represent.
Yeah. You got to love the
Yeah,
box.
and you get to pet goats.
Oh man.
But
Central
beer,
Brewing does a nice one. They keep it down to 7-8, but it's a good beer. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, but the fun thing about beer is really the exploration and the different things you can get into. And like I said, one of my things with beer I've always is people, if you don't realize it, it's kind of like you can go back and you can see like beer is like that centerpiece liquid that I feel like is like been around forever. Like obviously we could say, well, records go 5,000 BC, Mesopotamia, blah, blah, blah. But it's kind of like you think about some of the things that were probably decided over a beer. Like beer was like one of those type of things, where it's just like
Uh-huh.
around as people had discussed. Because you can't really get too deep into wine. You can't really get too deep into spirits, but you have a nice little beer. You could actually have a discussion. You can like get stuff done and you relax as you have that little bit of a beer. What's up, Foamy? Cheers, my friend.
So a pilsner today called Crispy Boy. I just like that saying. I could not agree more. I could not agree more.
Yeah, I don't even know where that came out from now, but
Yeah,
that's
I
the
really
big
hate
thing.
that. I really do. Yeah.
Crispy Boy, I guess it's probably the Haze Boy came out as
Oh,
an
I know
opposite. Yeah,
those folks.
yeah,
So I was joking. It's been quite a while back now, but I was joking with my wife, and I said, "I'm entering my curmudgeon phase," and she says, "Entering."
yeah. You sound like my
So,
wife.
so no, I'm embracing my curmudgeon nature at this point. So the funny thing is that at work I'm allowed to get away with things that others might not be able to because of the curmudgeon, right? Like,
Yeah,
because an older guy can say things, right?
yeah,
And I've learned that if you say things with a smile and a chuckle, you can get away with things that somebody else can't say.
yeah, yeah.
They can smile and chuckle a little, and you can get away with some stuff. Are you really that stupid? It's hard to come back from that.
Yeah, it's funny. Some of the
Poor
places
Tom, he's a card.
we've been to, it's kind of like you'll see stuff, and it's kind of like my wife will see it coming, and it's kind of like that Clint Eastwood like old man type thing about to come out. Like she's like, don't say anything, don't say anything. Like, well, they're pouring the wrong way, or they're doing this the wrong. Like she knows. She's
I
like,
went on about this has been a while back now, but I went on about a 10-minute, maybe even 15-minute tirade a while back on a TV show. A guy was a bar owner and supposedly an expert on cocktails, and he made a Manhattan and dropped a bright red cherry in it. A bright red
was this on
maraschino
Bar
cherry.
Rescue? Was this on Bar Rescue?
Oh my God. I just about freaking no, it was just a show. You know,
Okay,
it
because
was
Bar Rescue's a
a
show, and I thought I saw something on there.
it went
Yeah.
on about what an expert he was about a cocktail. It's an expert in a cocktail would never put a bright red cherry in a Manhattan. And I did about at least 10 minutes, if not more, on it. He says, "Let it go, let it." It's just a TV show. I said, "Yeah, but they need to hire. They hire medical experts for TV shows. They hire gun experts. They need to hire They need to hire whiskey experts. Alcohol experts. They need a bartender on that scene. Obviously, somebody needs to tell these people how things are done."
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you ever watch Bar Rescue, sadly, some people actually do work in it, do the same damn thing. Like you're a professional.
Crazy, doesn't it? Oh my God, how could you do that? If I was ever when I ran a bar and I see them do things like that, I say, "Oh my God, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah. It's like you
It's
see some
over."
people, they can't make a margarita. Like, how you not make a margarita? It's the most popular drink in the country.
Yeah. There is a place in St. Louis, though. It's a hotel in St. Louis called the Moonrise, and they do a month-old Manhattan that is just insane.
Mm,
It just sits in a barrel. They do a year-old too, which is crazy good, but that month-old is just amazing.
mm.
So
Yep.
cocktails. We talked about whiskey. We talked about beer, but are you a fan of cocktails at all?
I do cocktails from time to time. It's funny, back in the one of my reasons for not getting into craft beer no later on was back in the 90s when I was bartending for a bit, I drank more cocktails than I actually did beer. So I would drink a lot of that kind of stuff, a lot of the spirits and liquors. And
Hey,
back in
Shane,
the
yes, he says, "Good evening, gentlemen."
cheers, Shane.
Who's he talking to?
I have no idea. He must be looking at somebody else while he's listening to us. I don't know.
You have it confused with two other fellows, Shane. Her phone was back. He
Shane's a
said,
good
"I'm
man.
getting myself," but I thought I shouldn't use the word hate. Yeah, probably not. Sometimes I just can't. So I have no filter, Foamy. I've already said something before I realized I probably shouldn't have said it, which is why I don't get invited to a lot of places.
Foamy's a good guy. But yeah, back in the 90s, I used to do more cocktails. So, I mean, I used to be a big fan like Cape Cod's cranberry vodkas, and I would drink
Gotcha.
screwdrivers and, like I said, Alabama Slam, Southern Comfort. I would actually drink with various things, and beers back then. It was like Bud Ice, Red Dog.
Oh God, Red Dog.
Or like Bud Dry when Bud Dry was out.
Remember
And
the sayings on the Red Dog caps? They had those little sayings on the caps.
when you flip it over, yeah.
Oh man, I think a lot of Red Dog.
I mean, we were in West Virginia when I was going to school there, so we get stuff out of Pittsburgh because Morgantown's like 70 miles short of there, so it was like Rolling Rock. You would see, we would get the Yingling, we would get some of the other stuff like that. But I would drink more of the stuff like that. I was never a huge Bloody Mary fan until later in life. I actually can drink a Bloody Mary now, but back then I was not a big fan of Bloody Mary. So, but yeah, I'll do cocktails once in a while. Tequila Sunrise is one of my favorite cocktails to enjoy.
So
I still
that's
do
one
that
of my
today.
brother's favorite. After 50, I've become kind of a purist. I really love the Manhattan. I hated the old fashioned for a long time until I started making them myself. Every time I had one in a bar, it was just too sweet. But now that I can make it myself, now I go somewhere else and say, okay, well, have an old fashioned, but cut the sugar in half.
Yeah.
Give me the sugar or half the simple syrup, whatever you use, and cut it in half, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll do it old. I'll do some of the. I actually one of the restaurants we went to here in Baltimore a few weeks ago. I had a blackberry old fashioned, which was pretty.
Oh,
good.
that sounds interesting.
Yeah. So they have some different ones. We went to one place. The restaurant's actually closed now, which I think was because their service was so slow or whatever. But we went there and it was just like you go to a place sometimes and it's just like you're looking around like anybody to come check on us, everybody to come get our order. Like it's just like it was taking forever to get our food and stuff. But the food was good. It just took forever. And when you get the food, you're like, oh yeah, that's what I ordered. I forgot what I ordered because it was so long. So
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
but they
Shane
brought
said
me this.
Bud Dry is the beer that made him fall in love with beer.
Yeah, no, how
Damn,
many people
Shane,
remember Bud
really?
Dry?
I do remember that beer though, and I have to admit, I drank a lot of it when it came out. I really did.
Well, you remember their slogan, don't ask why, drink Bud Dry.
Well, I
So,
remember
yeah.
Michelob Dry, Mick Dry.
Yeah.
Everybody had a dry back then for about a year and a half, and then they were gone.
But one of the places we went to, they brought me this drink, and it was called the Godfather. And they come out with this drink in this restaurant, and the restaurant was kind of like this. It was kind of more bougie than it should. It shouldn't have been bougie at all, but it was kind of a bougie type thing that they were doing.
Mhm.
It comes out in this little case where it's like this block, and there's smoke. It's all smoke on it. Like, oh, what is this? Like a magic trick or whatever like that? It'll open up and you reach in and grab your drink, and it's just like it was tasty and all, but I'm like, okay, I guess I'm paying up because of the show, I guess. So, but yeah. Bud Ice killed the Bud Dry. Yeah,
That's funny.
I think I drink Bud Ice. I drink Bud Dry. I had no problem really with Bud Dry as much. I drank Bud Ice because it was a higher ABV. I think Bud Ice was 5.5.
Everybody drank ice because it was
Yeah.
higher ABV. Anything ice, yeah.
Yeah.
Ice House. Anything with ice in it had a higher ABV.
But it's funny, just recently, a couple weeks ago, I think it was a couple weeks ago, I actually did a review on Miller Genuine Draft because one of my local bars here, local corner store, had Miller Genuine Draft. And I was like, I wonder if it's like what I used to drink back in the 90s. And actually did the review, and actually it was pretty much like the same type thing. Wasn't going to be a great beer, but it wasn't terrible. And it was like, you know what? I could drink a few of these from time to time just to kick back and save a few bucks if I want to or whatever, and be just fine. Just drink it while it's cold. Don't wait on it to warm up.
No, I mean, you really got to drink it while it's very cold. Yeah, you want that thing right at ice crystals.
I remember when they did MGD Light. You remember when they did MGD?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, that was like, oh, why? Why would you do this? Like, yeah. As long as they don't bring Zima back for a third time.
Well, I think it was in the 90s, might have been the early 2000s, somewhere around late 90s, early 2000s. Miller actually did an all malt beer, but it lasted for like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
It was here when it was gone. I don't even know that it got to all parts of the country. It just didn't work.
Somebody just said, stop it. Just shut down all shipments right now.
I know bars that actually had promo shots and coasters, but never actually got the beer.
Yeah.
Well, Brad, I want to thank you for joining me at the pub. Any last words, parting shots?
No, it was great to catch up. It's been a while since we had something where we've done some stuff together. So great to see you're still doing it. Like I said, when I first got on YouTube, you were one of the OGs that were out there telling the stories and sharing the beer. And I still remember your old thing. Like you talk about Michael Jackson, and you'd be like, not the singer, because people would be confused when you said Michael Jackson. They didn't know Michael Jackson, the beer writer, right? So, and it's funny, I just did a 9-year anniversary show on the channel, and it was kind of interesting, just like talking about, like, I've seen so many people come and go in the beer community. Some that are still here, some that aren't here anymore, some that just called it quits before they could have had success because they had some great channel. And it's just, when I've started this back in 2015, didn't know I'd be here 9 years later still doing it. Didn't know what I was really shooting for. It was my wife's idea to even do it in the first place. And she was like, beer, you like beer, go tell people about beer. And I was like, who the hell wants to watch a guy drink beer on YouTube? And then,
who knew?
Yeah, like 2,200 people later, pretty much, people still like to watch you talk about drinking beer. So I appreciate all my subscribers.
I think a lot of those folks that are come and gone jumped in because they thought it was trendy at the time. And the folks that are still remaining, like yourself and myself and a handful of others, we're here because of the love of the beer to start with. Everything else was secondary.
Yeah.
If you were here because of the trend and you thought you could make money right away, those folks are gone.
Yeah.
The folks that are here for the love of the beer, the whiskey, or whatever, we're all still here.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people thought it was an easy thing to jump on and kind of do this, and realize doing YouTube is not an easy type thing, depending on what you want to do.
Yeah,
and I mentioned like you and Michael Jackson with the line you used to have was great. Was just like I told people when I did the show last week, it's kind of like one of the things I get out of it is a passion for it, but at the same point, I think people like to watch the channel because I put the time in to actually research stuff. There's some channels that are just a guy drinking beer, basically, right? But if you're going to do it, you want to be able to bring something that makes yourself different. And I love reading about beer, learning about beer, talking to people about beer, and that's what I bring to the channel. So,
well, you have to have your niche, and then you have to be authentic. And I think folks can figure out if you're not authentic or not. And my well, the positive and my downfall is the same thing, is that I am authentic. So people either love me for that or hate me for that.
Yeah, yeah. But you know what? You got to do what you can do and just keep doing it. I think if you keep telling your story and you keep being you, people come around and people still show you the love. So I'm thankful to everybody.
The ability not to say certain things, I probably would. I just don't have it. Filter, man. So I've learned to embrace the fact that I'm going to piss people off from time to time, and that's just the way it's going to be. Hey, Ron. Hey, thanks for joining me here at the pub, man.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. It was a blast. Great time. And
you are a very knowledgeable guy. There's no doubt about that. You've got a great personality, so there's no wonder why you're doing well on this format. So I hope you keep going and keep doing what you do and keep expanding what you do, because I do watch your program. So,
well, I definitely appreciate that. Is the wife around?
She is. She's always in she's always in the room with me, being quiet and shaking her head when I say something.
Well, tell her to listen, because I'll give her. You'll never find a love like mine. Because I used to work for you, right? The Lou Rawls. I used to hook you up back in the day. You'll never find. I used to be like, do Lou Rawls. She's kind of liking that over there.
That Barry White going in here. No, Lou Rawls had that voice, didn't he? You'll never find. So, what commercials did he do? Was it Bud Light or was it?
Rawls did?
Yeah, I can't remember if it was Bud Light or if it was the Anheuser-Busch Light. But he used to do the beer commercials, and I can't remember which one.
Oh, he's probably using that song, because that song got him a lot.
It was. The song was in there. Oh gosh, where's my thing here? Let me look it up real fast. Driving me crazy now.
No, I got that song stuck in my head too.
Yes, I'll find it there. Anyways, hey, thanks, man. I appreciate you joining me. Oh, Patrick, I left a message here. I'm going to post it real quick.
Budweiser commercial, 1978, Lou Rawls.
Oh, there it is. You found it.
And he did life insurance too.
I couldn't remember if it was Bud or
yeah. With a Patrick,
man, hey, thanks for joining. Hey, don't jump off right away. I want to talk to you just quickly afterwards. I want to thank my guest joining me at the pub, Rod J from Rod J's Beer Ventures and other programs. I am Tom, the Beer Whisperer, Whiskey Whisperer, Beer Evangelist, prolific beer drinker, purveyor, wisdom man, all around good guy. Sluncher.